Ever had gear fail when your life depended on it? After 3 decades on Tasmania's toughest trails with conditions shifting from sun to cyclone and hours, I've discovered extra gear isn't extra protection, it's extra liability. So in this video, I'm going to show you my proven approach for choosing lean, durable gear guaranteed to safely carry you through your next adventure, no matter what nature throws at you. But before we dive into the gear secrets, here's a quick tip. If you're serious about leveling up your outdoor adventures, join my free weekly newsletter in the link below. Every week, I share practical tips, honest gear reviews, and inspiring trip reports, straight from the track to your inbox. Quality over quantity. Buy once, cry once. Many people approach outdoor gear like a checklist. Tent, check. Pack, check. Ready to go. But out in the wilderness, your equipment either performs or it doesn't, and when it fails, things can go south quickly. From early on, I knew I wanted to spend a lot of time in the bush, so I committed to investing in quality. My very first tent was a Terra Nova. It wasn't cheap, but it lasted well over a decade and handled just about everything the Tasmanian wilderness could throw at it. Same goes for every serious tent I've owned since. MSR, sling fin, gear built for the long haul. Recently though, I grabbed a budget tent for some easy summer camping trips with my family. After just a couple of trips, the zippers are already shot on that tent. Sure, I'll fix them, but I can feel the difference. The stitching, the materials, the durability, it's just not built to last. You can feel it in the material. And that experience has reinforced an important lesson with me. When you cut corners on gear, you're often trading short-term savings for long-term reliability. So how do you make sure this doesn't happen to you? Start by identifying the systems you rely on most. Your shelter, your pack, your footwear, your rain protection, those are your lifelines. For these, choose the lightest, best-made version you can afford. You don't need to splurge on every item. Save weight on things like a camp towel or a mug, but don't compromise on the gear that could make or break your trip. And on that note also, don't assume light means fragile. Modern fabrics are a different game entirely. Dyneema is a high-tech composite that's stronger than steel by weight. Sil nylon, nylon coated in silicon, is both tough and waterproof. Ripstop fabrics are designed to stop small tears from spreading. When built well, these materials can stand up to serious punishment while shaving grams from your back. But no matter what you're buying, here's the mindset. Do your research. Try gear when you can and always ask, what's the most durable, trustworthy option that still fits my budget and my goals? Yes, quality costs more up front. That's the cry once part. But think of it as insurance. You'll skip replacements, avoid on-track failures, and most importantly, stay safe when it really counts. Build your core system first, then evolve. Now, here's something I wish I had understood early on. Stop thinking about gear as random pieces and start thinking in terms of a clear, reliable core system. And what exactly does this mean, I hear you asking? Well, your core system is the essential gear that comes along on every single trip. Rain or shine, overnight or extended mission. These are your non-negotiables, the items you've tested and trust completely. Think about it like this. A shelter you know will protect you. A sleep system you've proven keeps you warm. Clothing layers you trust to handle your local weather. Cooking, hydration, and safety gear you're already comfortable using. A pack that carries all of this comfortably. This becomes your foundational kit. Once it's dialed in, adapting for specific trips becomes easy. You want a bit of comfort, then add a chair. Bringing photography gear, pack a bigger camera setup. Summer trip, then you can maybe change a couple of your layers out for something a bit lighter. Essentially, your foundational essentials, your essentials, remain unchanged. They're solid, they're tested, and they're familiar. I call this the Core Plus method. Core is those reliable essentials you never leave behind. They come on every trip. And the Plus, well, they're the items that genuinely enhance the specific trip that you are taking on this occasion. Before obsessing over shaving grams or chasing the latest gadgets, ask yourself this simple question. Does my foundational kit reliably keep me safe, comfortable, and adaptable, even in the worst conditions I might encounter? If the answer isn't a confident yes, start there. And don't forget, if you're finding this useful, make sure you subscribe to the free weekly newsletter below. It's where I share deeper tips, behind the scenes insights, and updates on future course launches, stuff that doesn't always make it into the videos. Now, let's talk about why simple gear is often the strongest gear you can carry. Keep it simple and rugged. Fewer moving parts, fewer failures. So after over 3 decades on the trail, here's one truth that's never changed. Complicated gear is gear that fails. And when it fails in the wrong conditions, it's not just frustrating, it can be dangerous. Around 15 years ago, I got caught up chasing technology. I picked up the Brunton hydrogen reactor. This high-tech fuel cell promising endless power from little hydrogen cartridges. On paper, it sounded like a game changer. It sounded perfect. And in reality, well, it was absolutely useless. It barely charged anything. It added unnecessary weight and became dead weight for the entire 10-day trip. A couple of spare AA batteries would have been much simpler, lighter, and far more reliable. That experience taught me something important. Complicated gear often creates complicated problems. It was the same story with my backpack. For years, I carried a pack loaded with compartments, zippers, and straps, most of which never saw use. All of those extra features just meant more bulk and more potential points of failure. I'd often ended up with broken zippers, making parts of the packs frustrating and useless. So I simplified. These days, my pack is streamlined. One main compartment, a generous external pocket, and a couple of hip belt pouches. This type of pack means I can load it quicker, access things easier, and it has never let me down in the field. Now, let me be clear, I am not an ultralight purist. I still carry a proper camera, a very nice and comfortable chair, and a few luxuries that genuinely make my trips better. But by stripping away unnecessary complexity, I free up weight and space for the gear I actually want to bring. Here's the key. Be deliberate. Cut out the gear you don't use and focus on what truly adds value. Choose items built to last, not built to impress. Because, well, when your kit is simple, reliable, and purposeful, you spend more time enjoying the journey, not fighting your gear. And that's where weight comes into it, but not in the way most people think. Smart weight, real comfort. Why I do chase ultralight. Now, I am not an ultralight hiker. I had never have been. And for me, trimming pack weight isn't about hitting some magic number. It's about creating space and comfort for the gear I genuinely want to bring. Things like my camera tripod, and a sleep system I actually look forward to using. The key is knowing exactly where to save weight and exactly where not to compromise. Take footwear. A few years back, I broke my ankle pretty badly, and I was even wearing sturdy boots at the time. And you'd think that might push me toward lighter sort of trail runners, but it hasn't. Sure, I love runners for day hikes and trail runs, but when I'm off track, deep in the scrub, carrying a full load, well, the boots always come out. Durability, support, and confidence matter more than saving a few 100 grams. I learned the same lesson with cooking gear. On one trip, I experimented with an ultralight stove setup. I took a new pot, no windscreen, and an untested stove. On paper, it looked light and it looked brilliant, but out in the field, it was a disaster. I burned through extra fuel, struggled through the wind, and ended up carrying more weight overall than if I'd just packed my trusted regular stove. The takeaway was clear. Gear is only lightweight if it actually works. That experience shaped my gear philosophy. Now, every item in my pack has to earn its place, not just by being light, but by reliably performing in rough, wet, remote conditions. If it hasn't been tested and proven, it stays home. Because out there, weight matters, but so does warmth, sleep quality, reliability, and peace of mind. I'd rather carry a bit more and enjoy the journey than shave grams and suffer the consequences, or just feel miserable while I'm out there. Always have a contingency and know how to use it. Now, experienced hikers don't carry backups for every possible scenario. We carry solutions. My repair kit is minimal. Bit of duct tape, some zip ties, bit of spare cord, a sewing needle and a thread, some patches and glue, a tent pole splint. Altogether it weighs about 150 grams, but it's saved trips by fixing ripped rain jackets, snapped poles, broken buckles, as well as numerous sleeping pad holes. Before I head out, I play a quick mental game. If this breaks, what's my plan B? Stove won't ignite? Well, I've packed a lighter and a ferro rod. They're my backups. Sleeping pad goes flat. I've got a patch kit and I know how to use it. Jacket zipper fails. Well, I'll sew it up or improvise with cord or zip ties. The goal isn't necessarily redundancy, it's resilience. You don't need two of everything. Instead, plan ahead, pack versatile tools, and practice improvising solutions. Skills weigh nothing, and they'll carry you further than any extra gear ever could. Now, here's where it all comes together, because once you've got reliable gear, know how to fix it, and understand your limits, there's one final shift that takes your setup from functional to flawless. The philosophy. Your gear isn't a checklist, it's a system. Many hikers still approach packing as if they're ticking off a shopping list. But here's the problem. This checklist mindset often leads to heavy packs, unnecessary duplicate items, and poor decisions out on the track. And the solution, well, stop thinking in terms of individual items. Instead, think in terms of integrated systems. Let me illustrate this with a quick example from my own hiking journey. When I first started hiking, I packed everything I thought I might possibly need. Extra clothes, backup gadgets, endless just-in-case items. Most of it never even left my pack. It weighed me down physically and mentally. Now, every piece of gear I carry serves a clear, necessary purpose, often covering multiple roles. And before anything goes in my pack, I ask myself, what specific problem does this item solve? Is there a simpler, lighter, or more reliable way to accomplish that? Can I trust this gear under the worst conditions I'm likely to encounter? My entire kit revolves around 4 key functions: shelter, warmth, safety, and movement. If a piece of gear doesn't directly support one of these 4 and do it exceptionally well, it stays home. When you build your kit around clear functions rather than random objects, something powerful happens. Your gear transforms into a single, cohesive system. Fewer items, smarter choices, less weight, more capability. This is exactly what separates a messy, overloaded pack from a streamlined, mission-ready system and turns cautious hikers into confident adventurers. So, here's your challenge. Go through your gear and ask one question about each item. What is the lightest version that still meets my standards for durability and function in the worst conditions I expect? That single question can reshape your entire kit. But there's another layer to getting your setup right, avoiding the sneaky, expensive mistakes that even experienced hikers still make. So check out this video up here next to make sure your gear isn't holding you back, costing you comfort, or putting you at risk when conditions turn rough.